Hey friends, Archivist here. We're going to do a DEEtorial this morning. I've got news for you. The Whatnot app has updated in the Seller Hub. So let's go ahead and click on Seller Hub. I'm going to be doing this from my computer, so you would actually tap on the buttons that I click on. Okay, so real quick, our Seller Hub has a bunch of new information. At the very top, it's schedule a show, create a product. Create a product is to list to your show or to your inventory. Here is, I have one item that I got an offer on this morning. It needs a label. It will show upcoming shows. They have done a great job right here. So here's my show tonight. It has a little add button right here. If I click on add, it will take me into add a product. So let's click on it and take a look. So it's going to take me into my show. It's going to open up. It's a shortcut. It takes you right to create the quality listing. I absolutely love that feature. Okay. But I have to X out of my show. If I want to share my show, I'm going to click here. Keep in mind that the list here is going to share to the people you have already communicated with in your messages. What you want to really do is not share that show to those people because they probably won't go to your show. And these people won't, block me because I already talked to them, but I don't want to overwhelm their messages and send them my own show. I almost hardly ever share my show. You would want to take and share your show to IG stories and follow a prompt. Take a look at my other video that goes through how to do that. All right, we're going to get out of here. That is awesome. And then if you want to see your past shows, click on the arrow. This is all my current shows, but up here at the top it says past. Here is a bunch of my shows. The playback on these is up to 60 days. Okay, Whatnot doesn't keep up that because one, they pay for service hosting and it is a lot of data, especially when you're doing 5, 6, 7, 10-hour streams times X amount of users. Okay, we'll scroll down a little bit more and you've got account health. This tells you that your scan time's on rate and you don't have any order defects, like when stuff gets damaged, people want to make a return. So I'm doing all right. Customer support. So this is in beta still, but I don't know if everybody's going to get it or when they're going to get it, if they get it. And how this works is I'm going to handle my own returns. I currently don't have any right now, but I have this open one forever. I don't know how to get it out of there. I have to reach out to Whatnot. And then because I don't get very many of them, because I disclose pretty much everything, so someone knows there's a nick on it or a chip if it's vintage item, they know ahead of time they're going to either bid or not bid on the item. It sells or it doesn't sell. Okay, then down over here, we've got payouts. That's everything about payouts. Now here's orders. Not very many items in the last, since October, in the last 5 or 6 days. But so it shows I'm down compared to the prior 7 days. So I got to work on that. I got to get that back up. But this is pretty much the new look of the Seller Hub. Now up to the top right, they call it like a hamburger. So we're going to click on it. Now this has all been updated as well. You can manage your inventory, your shows, your offers, and this is a whole customer service support thing. I almost never use that. That's a shortcut into the customer service program that I'm in beta testing for. Sales. Here's my payouts. Fulfillment. Fulfillment means orders that I need to get done. If I click on that, that's going to show all the shipping because here's the little icon. And then click here is orders. It's all of them. I can see the activity. I can see the tracking. Here's the tips. It's just a list of tips. We're not going to go into any of these. If you want to, here's some promotions like Whatnot has. So for example, if I want to invite other sellers to my stream, I can go in here and it's going to show me whatever programs. If I invite a seller and they have a show and they do their show in the first week, right? They get approved, then I'm going to get $100 as a seller as long as they've sold their items in the show, they've shipped the items, they've been scanned and received. So after that all takes place, Whatnot gives me $100. Now, the new seller gets a really cool referral bonus is when they have a show. I think they have to stay on in the first week that they've been approved though. So there's some requirements. Have your show the first week you get approved, go live for at least 2 hours, sell up to $150 worth of stuff. So the goal is to sell $150 worth of stuff. Whatnot will match that up to $150. As long as you follow all of that. If you want to share that code, I would just hit copy and then I could post it wherever I need to. And then if I have people that want to just shop with me, like on YouTube, I'll put these codes below my videos. I could just copy that and then here's the code whatnot.com /invite/D_archivist. And then again, someone places an order with this one, they get $15 off their very first purchase. Now they can't have created another account. They have to completely be fresh and whatnot. And then they get 15 off instantly in their cart. And then when they make their purchase and it's shipped and all that stuff, then they'll give me $5 to my account. So that is actually pretty cool. All right, we're going to go back. Oh, and in here, actually in here, if you're in sellers shows and you earn some rewards, these are all the sellers that I have coupons with currently. So there's quite a few of them. And then it'll tell you your credits up here. I don't have any credits, so. And then right here, refer buyers. It's kind of the same link. Promote tools. This is if you want to go in and you want to promote the, see the analytics for your promote tools. Promoted shows. These are shows that I promoted in. I don't know. I have mixed reviews on this. I'm still going to do some more future reporting. So check back and for sure I'll probably be doing that again. Because sometimes I think it's necessary, especially when you're brand new. If it's your first show and you just started, I wouldn't pay to promote because Whatnot's already pushing you out there. And a lot of sellers really have great first shows. Okay, we're going to scroll. We got Rewards Club. There's some requirements for Rewards Club. So I'm going to let you guys do some research on that. But this is just basically, we'll take a look at it. It shows all my tiers right now. Excuse me, which ones you need, who the members are, the analytics. It has all your sales data. And then here's all the seasons I participated in. I think it's actually a pretty good thing. I find buyers do purchase more with the rewards. Now, one thing I'll say is with the rewards, if you have a rewards program, pay close attention. If you're doing flash sales, they can use the reward coupon on the flash sales. So you don't want to knock your price so low that you lose money. Okay. Same thing with the free shipping or reduced shipping or max shipping. Pay attention to those numbers because they're getting a deal already. Now you're going to give them another deal. It's almost a win-win. So it's up to you, but sometimes it doesn't make business sense. Okay, then we're going to go down. We have account health, which is on the first page. And then we got settings. So this is everything. This is where you're going to find your default shipping. So we're going to go into my shipping settings. I have free pickup on, but that's for like testing or when I purchase something. So usually for shows, that's off. Domestic shipments. Now, this is the default minus this first class mail being on. And I go into that in another video. This is when you sell first class letters that are like for paper goods, single sports cards that are not in top loaders. This is the default to turn it on, but it also has to be in a special category, like either stickers or it has to be in other sports cards or any sports card or Pokemon or Magic the Gathering category in order for it to get that low rate. But let me tell you now, the cards that are in those categories, they absolutely have no tracking. It's very mysterious. Sometimes it shows delivered and they're not there. I have a package that says delivered, but I'm yet to get it. And it was a PWE. Then over here, this is the default of Whatnot. 1 to 5 pounds is priority mail. Ignore the flat rate, but it's going to be selected here. That is the default. So that's what they have set up. They found that worked best. I changed mine from Ground Advantage to priority mail. Okay, I've changed it because it sometimes, not always, it sometimes stops it from bundling 50 items to a box. But the reason is, one, I can use USPS priority mail mailing box packages. I can use that packaging for free. I don't have to buy a box. Ground Advantage makes me supply my own box if it's over 5 pounds. So I'm testing a new thing out, but for you, when you start up, leave it as the default. Just know that it'll be 1 to 5 pounds and it'll be down here at the Ground Advantage, okay? But if you wanted to change yours, pay real close attention and be careful to it, okay? I'm gonna auto-apply to all my scheduled shows. So I'm gonna put it back to Ground Advantage. Actually, I'll put it on priority mail. But we'll do that because we don't want to get confused. So that's your default. If you do make any changes, I will tell you right now, if you change to flat rate up here, 1 to 5 pounds, you have to put flat rate 1 to 5 pounds here because it's going to get confused and you're going to maybe get confused. So the biggest thing you should know if you do flat rate, if the item fits in the box, it ships. You have to be real careful. I'm going to make a whole other video about making a custom ship profile. So look for that video. That's going to be probably the next one in the series. because I want it to be so easy for you guys. And a lot of times we overthink the shipping, or we go to someone's chat show and they're having a lot of success on whatnot. But the part they're not telling you is what's really happening on the shipping. They're not changing the labels, they're not changing the box size, and that's hurting the buyer. So make sure you know the whatnot way, so you don't, one, lose a buyer, you don't make them pay extra money, and you do it right. Okay? So the information I give you, I directly pulled it from Whatnot's website. And I pulled it from help.whatnot.com. And I searched shipping under the buyer seller tab. So I'm going to just save mine as the default. Okay? So let's click back into it. We'll turn that off for visualization. Okay, when you first come in, this is what it looks like. Priority mail, 1 to 5 pounds. So that means you can use priority mail mailing boxes. Can you use a brown box or another one? Absolutely. There are some boxes you can't use, like alcohol boxes, because that's a USPS rule. That is not a Whatnot rule. But you can use the white boxes that have red and blue ink from priority mail. They just have to say mailing box, shipping box. Okay, they can't say flat rate at all on them. If you use the flat rate, then you can switch to flat rate. Those boxes are only allowed to have flat rate on them, okay? And as you go along with all this and you practice, you'll find what works for your business best. Everybody has a different way to pack. Everybody has a different way to fit. The biggest thing you have to know is the shipping is the same. And you want to be honest 100%, whether you preload or you do random pulls. It's all the same. It's just a matter of being honest and putting the right information into Whatnot. Because you never want to not change labels. You always want to edit the shipping regardless of the box size. At the max, and I'm kind of getting into shipping right now for this, but if the box says it's 12 by 12 by 12, but you have like an 8 by 6 by 4-inch box, you need to change it. That actually would be a lighter box. The 8 by 6 by 4 is probably like 5 ounces. And the 12 by 12 by 12 priority mail large mailing box is about 11 or 12 ounces empty with nothing in it. And by the time you put paper and packaging materials, you're looking at 1 pound. You're looking at 1 pound. So I've said it over and over again, and I'll say it again here, is most items that I have that are glass, I sell vintage decor. If that item is about 3.5 pounds, 3 to 3.5 pounds, and it's a bulky or a super fragile, I always create a custom ship profile so it only ships alone, and then there's never an issue, and it actually becomes about 5 pounds. If you pack it right, sometimes I double box. That's already like another 7 or 8 ounces. So that's why I say a 3-pound item, because 3 pounds is actually pretty heavy to ship. It doesn't seem like it, but depending on the item. And every time it works out, because the buyer that I'm looking for that item has no problem paying the shipping because they understand it needs special handling. And if you were to take some big, bulky, thick case glass item and packaged it with like some fragile little items, there's a chance it's going to get broke unless you package it in little boxes. And those little boxes are going to make it heavier. So it's better to just kind of, know that in reality, if that 3 pound and then I add a pound of packaging at minimal, that's going to be 4 pounds. When you double box it, that's going to put me right at 5 pounds. So that's my justification behind it. It works. I've been doing it for 20 years. Okay, so look for my other shipping video. Okay, so we got priority mail 1 to 5 pounds. And then we've got over here, over 5 pounds is going to be US Ground Advantage. Okay, so I'm going to save it. But because I have 500 shows, I'm going to ask it to apply to all my scheduled shows. It'll clear out the shipping and make it this way. So we'll hit save. It'll take a minute. Now we're going to go to shipping costs. So the default of this is buyer pays all shipping. This means that when the buyer comes in to bid and they see the rate underneath the auction tab, it'll show them how much it costs to ship to them. And I think it doesn't show the taxes. That's extra. You want this. This is the default, okay? Oftentimes you'll go to chat shows and they will say, oh, we do reduced. We do reduced. If you do reduced and you're new, you might end up paying a lot of money out of your pocket. So I do not recommend that for new sellers at all, unless you have the budget for it, but I really don't. So you see reduced, you see max shipping. Okay, here's the one for free shipping. If you select this, seller pays all shipping costs. I highly do not recommend this. I recommend against it, especially in your first, I would say, good 20, 25 shows. If you do free shipping, you have to figure it out. You have to figure out if you really want to offer free shipping, how much are you starting your item out? You can't do dollar starts, you will lose. You can't do $5 starts, you will probably lose. Again, it depends on the item. Like you could do sports cards, you could probably do free shipping, but you better start your cards at like $4, $5. And then you have to do like 0 to 1 ounce, because as they buy more, the weight's going to increase. So yes, if the price is lower, they'll buy more. But at the end of the day, after the fees and everything, is it going to cover the shipping if you're given free shipping? So until you get used to it, I think you should not do free shipping. Again, the default is that the buyer pays 100% of the cost. So now you get a little established and you want to try buyer pays up to a set shipping cost. So this is what some people call max or reduced shipping. If you do a show that has reduced shipping, you name the price up to $9.21 what the buyer will pay. So say we put $9.21 in here, and that means that anything over $9.21 in shipping is my responsibility as a seller. That means they get reduced shipping. Okay, now that's the maximum price they're going to pay. So if they buy 5 pounds, it's the regular thing, right? It's normal. But say they buy 20 pounds of whatever you're selling jewelry, and they buy 20 pounds, and you can't fit 20 pounds in one box, but you've got a good sale here. You've got $500 in sales, let's just say, and it's budgeted in if you have some margin, that you can actually put this all in 2 boxes. So what that'll mean is that the buyer will pay $9.21 and you're going to pay over it. So you're going to split it probably down the middle, but see, they've only paid for 5 pounds. So if you have a 20-pound shipment, you're going to be paying about, whatever the difference is. I'm going to say it's like $9.21 times 3 and some change. Okay. So you're going to cover the next, figure 25, 26 bucks. It really depends on what you're able to fit in each box. So is that something worth it for you? Maybe. Some people go in and they pick their favorite number, like $7.77, right? That's the max shipping. So say somebody buys like up to 5 pounds, and a bunch of people do that. How that works is they are already paying for $7.77. You're going to pay the difference at $9.21 and whatever is past that. I feel like sometimes people even do lower. They do the jewelry. I've seen people do $4 max shipping. That just means a buyer pays no more than this amount that you put. I've seen people put like, $9, and then that means for every shipment you pay 21 cents plus whatever's extra over that. Just keep in mind that when you have a buy it now full of heavy stuff, it's going to include all of that. So pay close attention to what items are really lightweight in your buy it now. If you got a handful of items and you don't really care, just know you can take a heavy hit on some of those items, okay? But I always leave buyer pay shipping. I've tried all of them. Actually, I'll take it back. On here, I haven't tried the free shipping. I have thought about it for my jewelry show coming up, so maybe I'll try it out and see. But I'll have to figure it out what works best for me. So I'm going to leave it on that. I'm still going to apply to it because I actually already did that. And then shipping profiles, I'm going to make in a different video, but just to give you a little viewing, is I have put in custom shipping profiles for exact weight, because I do have a couple items that are exactly 4 ounces packaged up, that I could just choose that versus the 4 to 7 ounce. When I do that, the buyer actually could buy more items from me and get more to them for their money under 1 pound. Maybe people don't want to spend $9.21 in shipping. Maybe they just don't. Okay. So I've added a bunch of custom ship profiles, priority mail, flat rate. What I do is it's like a build a box kind of thing. So I make sure the box in the system, because you kind of have to manipulate it a little bit, that the box is 70 pounds. And I'm filling the box with stuff, and then I'm selling the stuff like build a box, right? This is what I used to use for our old mystery games, which are no longer allowed on Whatnot. But I would hold a box. I would have a box right in front of the camera, and then I would have like, 10 or 12 things in it, and I have my starting price. But this allows me to make one buyer buy one box and pay for the one box. And then they get another box, they would pay for that other box. Now, at the time of printing a label, I wouldn't just print the label. Maybe the box only weighs 22 pounds. I would go in and edit the shipping label for it to be 22 pounds because the rate of $9.21 is on flat rate up to 70 pounds for whatever box I'm using. They're not going to get a refund for the difference because if I were to use one of those Priority Mail flat rate boxes in a large, at the post office currently, it's almost $30. Whatnot is only $9.21. So it's a win-win for the buyer on Whatnot, 100%. So these are just the other ones. Here's a Priority Mail large flat rate. This is the top loaded one. Okay, this is just the square box, which is what, 12 by 12 by like 6 inches, I think. It's not very big, but it also has a max of 70 pounds. Okay, this would be one item in the box because I still add a bunch of stuff. I just sell it as one piece and then I go and edit it after it's sold because it's still $9.21 for up to 70 pounds. If it doesn't fit, it doesn't ship. So you have to make sure like you're not trying to do flat rate on any vintage glass decor like swung vases or tall bottles. It will not work. You will end up not being able to ship it because you can't stack those boxes and you can't Frankenbox them at all. Okay, and then I have a bundle box. This is kind of the same as that one. If you see, I have the only one in there. But this is something we're going to look at in the next video. But I wanted to dive through it and I went on a fun little exciting tangent about shipping. Okay, and then we go back down here. We got seller status. Just says like verified buyer and all that. Rehearsal mode. So I'm not going to turn rehearsal mode because I don't think it'll work with the thing I'm doing. But everybody who's new should absolutely click on rehearsal mode and try it out. And just in case you're on vacation mode, you turn that on. It will put your shop. You can't shop with the person. You can't sell anything or ship for whatever period of time. You just turn it on, turn it off. Maybe put a note on your bio. So we'll go back from the hamburger up here and we'll scroll down. So I notice one thing is different on here. The rehearsal mode shortcut is not on here. I'm going to go over here to my account. Now this is everything related to my Whatnot account. From account health to affiliates to payments and shipping. That would be like my personal information, right? This is all my personal, what addresses. I'm a verified buyer, right? Because I submitted the proper identification to match. This is where I want to show you all the preferences because that's changed and where to report bugs and things. Email, password, that's everything related to your seller's account and kind of like your buyer account. Preferences. The preferences is basically I have direct messages on, enable private entry, display rewards status, connect community, that is off. Real time, promote tools, feedback. So if I pay for promoting my show, it's going to have a bunch of people like pop in my show and it's going to show me on the screen. People don't like that. Turn it off. You don't have to have it on, but I think it's because it can clog up your chat. Seller tools, which allows me some of the tools in the phone to be able to like zoom in and do different things. And then clips could be on your page. I don't know why that's off. Past shows, that's irrelevant because you can't see past shows on Whatnot anymore. Activity status, you can turn that on. Friends who have activity status turned on can see where you are in the app and they could join your show or just see that you're on. And then all of this stuff here, like sync contacts from your phone, suggest your account to your contacts, turn it off. Even in the Whatnot terms, it says you must have consent from your friends to share their info. And basically what it's going to do, it's going to promote Whatnot to them. You definitely don't want that on. Anyway, I don't. I respect my friends and I don't want to do that to them. Auction, start haptic feedback. So every time you start an auction, this little vibration goes on your phone. I turn that off because I really don't need that feature. It's a good reminder for some just beginning, but if it does, you can turn it on or off right here. Mine is off because it drains the battery. Appearance, you can do device setting or you can do light mode or dark mode. If you do light mode, everything is going to be in white, which is fine. I like the device settings for dark mode because it's just easier on my eyes at nighttime. So I'm going to leave that on and then I'm going to go, they have a language you can pick. And if you have to for any reason, there's the delete your account option. Okay, so we're going to go back and we're going to scroll down a little bit. And you can report a bug right here. You can contact Whatnot. Here's some user reports. So if you see something, you say something, that'll be all of that information. Sales tax exemption, very self-explanatory. Okay, I've talked about this before. Privacy policy, what the rules are of Whatnot's app, and basically basic rules about their site and protecting them as a business. Terms and conditions, go read that. That's the terms of service we always talk about. It's updated periodically. If you click on it, it's going to open up. All of these mean they're going to open up to an external page, right? Like on a browser. And then frequently asked questions. I highly recommend if you're just starting out to go to these and read them and check them out. Okay. And that's pretty much it. The last thing I'll show you is view profile. This is my profile. I have sold on transactions, it's 5,000, but I probably am at about 15,000 items because I did tons of bundles in the beginning of my Whatnot days. I've been selling vintage decor, estate sales, and then I do rip, smash, or ship, and even trade on some stuff. I'm on every day since June 1st, 2024. OG chat host, and for Cawfee Talk and Tech Chat, been doing that since 23. January of 2023, and I'm a shipping concierge. And I actually suggested the sticker category to Whatnot, and they said yes. And I'm approved Whatnot community host. So I do chat shows once a month for Whatnot about Whatnot topics, and it's actually pretty great. There's about 30 other sellers doing that. And you can always find me at DEEarchivist.com. I have events, tips. I have product lists to show you what you might need to get as a new seller. And then I'm on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Most of it is here on YouTube. And if you go to my profile, you'll see my shop. I always have a loaded shop. You'll see my shows. I'm going to probably have to update my thumbnail. I just am too lazy. Reviews, what other people say about me and their experience. And so you can check that out and see what it's about. I also do one-on-ones. And that's pretty much it. I want to thank you for making it through this part. And I always ask to, if you have a question, you can always leave it in the comments and I will respond. If you have a suggestion, totally open for that. I hope you guys have a beautiful day or night, and I'll see you later, Insomniacs.